What's up, guys? Happy Sunday afternoon. I think there's a couple NBA games tomorrow. Hopefully you can staple your bookie's nuts to a stack of papers. Milwaukee's at Indiana. Slight early movement in this one. Pacers open 2, now 1.5. Total open 215, now 213.5. 67% of the handles shaded toward Milwaukee. And when it comes to the Milwaukee lean, why the hell not? These guys are 3-1 ATS in their last 4, 7-3 ass to mouth in their last 10. Milwaukee's covered just about 60% of their games on the road, 8-5 as the official road underdog. But if you think the Bucks are free money on a Monday night, just keep in mind they're covering just 40% of their games that tipped off at the current number, the current point spread. They're also going up against an Indiana squad who's covering 67% laying the points and 64% as the official home favorite. But don't refinance the mortgage on Indiana either, all right? I know I'm like putting you on a roller coaster here, but these guys are just 1-3 ATS in their last 4, 1-6 ass to mouth in their last 7. Now, scoring-wise, both games went 3-1 to the over in their last 4. Milwaukee's given up a rotund 120 points per contest on average in those 3 very aforementioned overs. Not sure why this one got bet down. I think a lean toward the over should certainly be a sensible play in this one. All right, next game I have for you, it is going to be Toronto at Brooklyn. The Toronto Raptors opened 6.5, now up to 7.5. Total open 217, now 218 flat. 67% of the action is shaded toward Toronto to get the job done in this one. And if you're a part of the cool kids, the popular vote, the 67% of the betting public that thinks Toronto will flip your bankroll, well, I can't say that I blame you. These guys have gone 3-1 ATS last 4, 7-3 ass to mouth in their last 10. Why do I keep saying ass to mouth? That's weird. All right, this Toronto squad is also covering 63% of their games playing teams under 500. But if you think these Toronto trends are boner-inducing, just hold on to your hats, folks, because the Brooklyn Nets are a covering machine of sorts themselves, all right? Brooklyn has gone 4-0 ATS last 4, 7-2 against the spread in their last 9, and 71% covering against teams over 500. This Brooklyn squad's also covered 7 of 10 in their games as the official home underdog. Now, scoring-wise, Brooklyn's last 3 contests all went under the line. But just as you punch in your ticket for an easy under, keep in mind that these Toronto games went 3-0 to the over in their last 3 themselves. The Nets catching points at home, it isn't a terrible proposition, but the Nets in a teaser would probably be most desirable in this game. All right, next game I have for you, it is going to be Houston, Chicago, all right? The Houston Rockets are laying the 5 at the Chicago Bulls. Totals at 221 flat. Houston backers, I'll tell you what, they've cost you lately. They've been very costly. 1-3 ATS last 4, 1-8 ass to mouth last 9. They're also just 16-18 covering in their games when laying the points. It's not all bad for Houston backers, though. The trends are telling me that the Rockets are indeed covering a solid 60% of their matchups as the official road favorite. Now, if you've been leaning Chicago over the past couple of weeks, well, damn it, excuse my finger. But yeah, if you've been backing Chicago in the last couple of weeks, it hasn't been working out for you, actually, in this past week, because similar to the weather in the Northeast, they've hit a bomb cyclone when it comes to the number. I mean, that's corny, but Chicago's failed to cover 3 of their last 4 and have lost 4 of their last 5 outright. But there's still hope. Chicago against the spread is still very good on the year. They're 25-15 overall, depending on where you're shopping at. And they're 71% covering against teams giving up more than 102 points a game. So Chicago was hot, now they're cold. Maybe they'll get back to it. Now, scoring-wise, Chicago games are 3-1 to the over last 4, but 2 out of Houston's last 3 actually went under the closing number on the total themselves. Too many concerns, too many discrepancies. If I were a betting man, I'd probably stay away from a total in this one, and even really a pick on the sides. As always, though, if you have a good beat on this game, no need to hold out. Please share with the rest of us in the comment section below. I'm sure you will be held accountable and roasted if you're wrong. All right, next game. Cleveland, Minnesota. The T-Wolves are taking money in the early going here. Cleveland opened 2.5, now 1. Total opened at 218. Bet up to 220 flat. Cavaliers are just 1-3 ATS in their last 4. 2-8 covering in their last 10 ball games. The Cavs are also covering less than 20% of their games when laying the points. They've been real bad covering as the favorite. Meanwhile, on the other side, Minnesota's not too hot themselves. They failed to cover 2 of their last 3, and they're covering just 28% of their games versus teams over 500. Now, scoring-wise, Minnesota games haven't seen a whole lot of it. 0-4 to the over in their last 4. Meanwhile, on the other side, you really don't know what you're going to get in these Cleveland games. 2-2 to the over in their last 4. 4-4 to the over in their last 8. So little this, little that when it comes to the scoring in these Cleveland games. But the trends tell me to lean toward the under. But the movement on the line tells me that this one should get over. Once again, if I were a betting man, I'd probably be fairly unsure of where I'd choose to potentially blow my hard-earned earnings. Either one of these teams in a teaser would probably serve as the most reasonable play in this one, in my humble opinion, of course. All right, I'm going to slide into my next and final game for the show. That game is going to be the matchup on the West Coast between the Atlanta Hawks and the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers open 3.5, now 4. Total open 210 and a hook. Now bet up to an even 213. Both teams a bit wishy-washy against the number as of late. Atlanta's going 2-2 ATS last 4, and they've lost 3 of their last 4 outright. Atlanta's also covering just 28% of their games. That tipped off at the current number. But before you go ahead and fade the Hawks in this one, keep in mind that they're covering nearly 80% in the second game of a back-to-back. These guys are grinders. They're also fading a Clippers team who's lost their last 2 straight, failing to cover in both of those contests. But Clippers backers, no need to hang your heads in this one. LA against the spread is 12-6, laying the points, 8-4 as the official home favorite, and 67% covering in games at the current number. Clippers games are also 3-0 to the over in their last 3, but they're going up against an Atlanta team who's seen their last 4 games all fall under the closing posted total. Once again, as always, when it comes to picking games or trying to predict the future, another tough game to pick in a brutal Monday night slate of games. If you go by the trends, I'll tell you, all these games tonight are pretty tough if you're going by the trends. But all in all, once again, if you have a beat on any of these games, please feel free to share your leans and plays in the comment section below. If you're wrong, you're going to get crucified. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me for this video. Once again, as I say in almost every video, I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. And if for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Productions, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.